Namaste everyone and welcome to SuperGrads CAT. Just yesterday night at 11:30 p.m. the final results for FMS were declared and we have with us Saransh who has converted FMS in the first list itself. Saransh, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And a big congratulations to you as well. FMS convert करना dream रहता है बहुत लोगों के लिए. And you've been able to convert it. How does it feel?
Sir, it feels really good. It feels surreal.
It feels surreal. अभी feeling sink in हो गई है कि FMS कन्वर्ट हो गया है या कभी-कभी ऐसा लगता है कि maybe it may be a dream.
Right, sink in होने में time लग रहा है.
Right.
But actually, yes, I did it.
Yes. So just to give a brief background about, I think ये second या third attempt था आपका. You have had a gap for 2 years.
Yes, sir. ये मेरा second attempt था.
Right.
I was graduated in the year 2022. So this was my second gap year as well.
Second gap year. So एक interesting message. We have a live example for somebody who has converted his final FMS का call after a gap of 2 years. So students को बहुत बड़ा doubt रहता है कि सर गैप लेना चाहिए कि नहीं, ड्रॉपर्स को कितना बड़ा डिसएडवांटेज रहता है गैप ईयर के कारण. So we have a live example. We'll start straight away with the interview experience, which I think happened just few days back. 18th April को आपका interview.
18th April को.
Right. So it started with an extempore. How was the experience like?
No, the interview started with my introduction.
Okay.
And after that, they have asked me. They have given me the topic for extempore, which was related to my domain, my forte.
Okay.
The topic was capitalism. Something related to capitalism, shareholders capitalism.
Okay.
So मैंने सोचा they allowed me a second opinion as well कि if I wanted to change, but then I thought it through. Then I thought that it won't be a matter. It won't matter if I change it, because if second topics come even tougher. Because in this topic I know the meaning of both the terms. So I was pretty comfortable with that. So I started with explaining both the terms, and then got around the interview. Ma'am, the interviewer interrupted in between and asked me what is capitalism and what is socialism, which countries
So
practice.
how long were you allowed to speak without interruptions? कितने seconds से approximately minute and a half?
I would say there were many interruptions, but somehow I was able to finish all my answers and give them all crisp and clear answers.
Okay. So capitalism के ऊपर questions and the topic was shareholders capitalism.
Right.
So obviously a lot of questions on finance. What is it that you have done in your profile that they asked a lot of finance-based questions?
First of all, I am a CA dropout. I cleared my Chartered Accountancy Intermediate Group 1 exams.
Okay.
And with that, I was interested. I was into finance field, so I kept reading on finance as a subject. So I have also done NISM certifications. One is a PMS distributor.
Okay.
So yes, the interview went around these lines only, that where I was asked some finance related questions. So that helped me a lot, because I was prepared with that.
Correct. And when it comes to questions from the domains of finance, because आपका profile finance oriented ज़्यादा था, what were some of the key highlights of the questions that they asked?
They directly asked me, one of the interviewers directly asked me that what is hedging.
Hedging. Okay.
The other interviewer asked me market crash हो गया, what does it mean? So some questions were on these lines. Many questions I will say. So like what is the impact of FII on the share market and on Indian economy. So yes, there were many questions in this lines.
And were there any questions on economy per se, for example, reforms or
Yes.
Anything on those lines?
There was a question by one of the interviewers. I don't know where it came from, but they asked me that Mr. Manmohan Singh, our ex-Prime Minister and also one of the Finance Minister, he introduced some of the reforms for our country. So do you know, are you aware of it? So I was aware of it. I recalled all my lectures from the classes which you have taken from Advisor batch. So the LPG reforms he was talking about, and I was able to clearly go on without a break.
Were there some discussions on license Raj and evolution of all those
license Raj, privatization of industries, and opening industry for global companies. So this was all I have explained to them.
Great. So basically the interview revolved mostly around economics and finance.
Right.
Any other questions that you can recall which were non-academics related?
One of the questions was, I was interested in finance field. What would you work, and who is your role model in this field, in finance field? So honestly, I had many. I see many role models, I see many personality like Radhakrishnan Ambani, but quoting them without their complete knowledge would have been a blunder. So I quoted my sister, who is working as an investment banker.
Okay.
So that also helped me a lot because they got me a conversation of where does she works, who is the MD and CEO of that private equity firm. So
correct.
That helped me.
You were able to answer all those questions because it was something that you are aware of.
Right.
Had you taken names like Radhakrishnan Ambani, then there would have been a barrage of questions on that.
Right.
Maybe it could be a good idea to prepare on some of the people that you follow sincerely, prepare well, and then are able
exactly
to answer.
That would have been, but somehow I missed on this thing, and I regretted on that moment as well. But at that 10 seconds within that time, I thought that it was good for me to quote my sister there.
Right. It was a good decision at that point in time. How was your mock interview experience here? So you had lots and lots of mock interviews here.
Right.
In fact, I have taken a few interviews with you for you as well. How was the experience for mock interviews, and how much of an impact did it have on the actual interviews?
Actually, I had the best interviews here. Like one of the FMS alumnus, Mr. Amanjot, has taken my mock interview.
Correct.
So getting in touch with him was very beneficial to me. And before my actual interview, you also took one of the mocks. So that was purely academic based, and that helped me a lot to grease up my knowledge.
Correct.
So yes, the mock interviews are really good, and getting connected to Amanjot has really helped me to get the insights of the college.
Correct. So in fact, it's a good thing. In fact, that this is one of the USPs that we had in Admit batch, that wherever possible, we were able to connect students with a corresponding alumni from that college who is a recent pass out. Not an alumni who's a 10-year-old pass out, because then you're not really able to catch the current theme of things that are happening in the campus. What is it that the panel members are looking for? How did their interviews go? And we are already shortlisting members on the basis of their experience in guiding and mentoring students, and not just a one-off case. So I think that really helped in understanding the nuances of what you could expect in an FMS interview. Coming back to the original CAT preparation.
Right.
So I remember Super 30 mein we had early morning 7 o'clock classes. How was the experience like attending Super 30 offline classes while preparing for CAT?
It was too good, sir. There are no words to explain that, but I would say that it was just meant for me. The batch size, and the competition that we had in this batch was really outstanding, and it helped me a lot in my CAT preparation.
Correct. In fact, we have had a lot of official converts coming up, and we'll try and compile all those results. So we have one I am Ratak convert from Super 30 batch. We have an SPGen convert from, in fact, 2 or 3 SPGen converts from Super 30 batch. We have lots of students waiting, lots of IRMA converts, SIBM, SCMHRD converts. So all in all, that Super 30 batch really justified the name, saying that
Super 30.
Yeah, they were super students, so to say. Finally, you had lots of other interviews as well to appear for. Can you name all the calls that you had, and how were the interview experiences?
So my interviews started with SIBM Pune. I scored 99.60 percentile in SNAP. So my first interview was SIBM Pune, second was SPGen Mumbai, third was Lucknow, fourth was Kozhikode, then MDI Gurgaon, and CAP call, IFT and FMS.
Right.
And I am Mumbai as well.
I am Mumbai as well. FMS was the last interview?
FMS was the last interview, and so to say that it was the best interview that I appeared for.
Correct. Having appeared in so many actual interviews as well, it's a very hectic cycle for an aspirant to prepare for interviews, appear in all those interviews. What are some basic advice that you would like to give prospective students while they are preparing for multiple interviews?
For interviews, I would just say that be updated because it would really help, and be aware of what you say in the interview. Like even if you quote something which is not relevant to your field, I believe that knowing about that should be utmost of important thing.
Correct. So we had around 26 odd sessions recorded in the platform, which were conducted live. How many of them were you able to attend live, and honestly speaking, unme se kitne recorded sessions were you able to watch?
I was very regular with my interview classes, so I watched many of them. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch all of them, but yes, most of them I watched around 20 or 15, 18 to 20 interview
18 to 20 sessions you
watched.
were able to watch.
Right.
So I think that's a good reminder for us that we cannot be complacent when it comes to our preparation. So if there are sessions available, please make sure that you watch them sincerely, because it adds to a lot of knowledge and perspective building, and the kind of maturity of answers that you will have after attending some of those sessions really makes you stand apart.
Right.
Saransh, so what are the plans now? FMS convert हो गया है अभी, क्या plans हैं for the next few months? FMS का typical curriculum session start होने का tentative time is
August.
So lots and lots of months अभी remaining
Right.
with you. What are your plans?
So my plans is first to enjoy for the coming few days. Secondly, I have to get there for my document verification. After that, I feel that I'll try for some internship, or I'll read into MBA subjects so that I get that first movers advantage there as well.
Correct. And Saransh, one feedback that personally I have given you a lot of times is your area of improvement can be communication skills,
Right.
which is a genuine problem for a lot of candidates, that they are not very fluent in their speaking skills. English doesn't come naturally to them. They lack that kind of a flair when it comes to speaking. You have had this problem for long, and if I remember correctly, compared to previous year, this year you have improved drastically. It is still an ongoing problem, and it will continue to be for the next few months or so, maybe. But what would be your advice to people that despite having such issues, you were able to convert FMS? So any feedback with regards to, when we talk of handicaps, 2-year gap, communication skills not being at their best, how did you navigate and manage through all these challenges to convert your call?
As I already told, my interview was around my forte. So I was really prepared for my forte topics, like finance and economics and all my subjects. So I was very much prepared for that. And interviewer is also looking for someone who is good, who has done good with what he was to do with.
Correct.
So I believe that focusing on the academics part really helped me a lot. And secondly, that I really put in effort for everything.
Right.
So that might have turned fortune for me.
Great. I mean, I've personally seen it on a daily basis, the kind of effort that you've put in, the kind of efforts that you've put in to complete the assignments, improving every day, improving after every mock that you've appeared for. So I think key takeaways from this interaction is there will be a lot of areas of improvement for each candidate. You have to identify your strengths, make sure that you consolidate and work in terms of identifying what are your stronger areas and trying to showcase those areas of strengths in the interview. For him, it was mostly into academics and knowledge of finance and economy, and that really helped. So in fact, आपका profile भी, आपके answers भी CV form के were designed. Your introduction, in fact, had a lot of features where people could pick up questions on finance and economics, and the interview could drive along those lines. So
I would like to mention this, that in my first line of my FMS form, I mentioned that I want to be at some strategic decision making position in some some good company.
Right.
So my question was, what is strategic decision
making? Correct. So your introduction, in fact, everything that you mention in the interview can be a great way to drive the interview in your favor. So be prepared, whatever you write, whatever you say. For example, he said strategic decision making. So obviously questions were, what is strategy? What is strategic decision making? Can you give examples? And I think there would be some to and fro questions on those lines as well. So broadly, this is it. One final message to CAT aspirants, would be appearing for their interviews. Any one final piece of advice or message that you want to give?
I would just say that I had practiced a lot.
Right.
For mocks, we can say for entrance tests, I took a lot of mocks. And for interviews, I took a lot of mock interviews.
Right.
So practice is what is a much of thing, and it should be focused on.
All right. Congratulations, Saransh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for coming down and having this chat with us. With this, we'll take your leave. Ciao.
Thank you, sir.